Welcome back. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are breaking down the San Francisco 49ers 2023 season and also then previewing the 2024 offseason now that the season is over. So, Ryan, if you want to pull up the slide here, we included their record and then also then too some of their offensive and defensive rankings in certain categories just to kind of give a good, clear picture on some of their strengths and weaknesses. And I will say on the offensive side of the ball, their strengths were everything, pretty much everything. And
Yeah,
so they did have a little spell in the middle of the season where they were dealing with some injuries, and I think that ended up kind of being their kryptonite, unfortunately, in the Super Bowl. But in general, though, I mean, they had the best left tackle in the league. They had the best running back. They had probably the best receiving duo, I would say. One of the
Brandon
best
Ayuk
tight
was an
ends.
All-Pro. Debo was not because he missed
He was injured. Yeah,
injured
like
for like
all.
6 games.
Yeah,
Pretty much all of their star offensive players were all pros.
yeah.
It's just which
Was
is
Brock
kind of
Purdy and all?
absurd.
Was Brock
No,
Purdy?
he was not an All-Pro. He was a pro. He was elected to the Pro Bowl, but he didn't go because they were in the Super Bowl.
It makes sense. I
Yeah,
think quarterback it's a little bit harder to be an all pro because I think
they only
they
take
only
two.
they
I
only take
think.
two. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's a little bit tougher. But he had an amazing season as well. Defensively, they were just an absolute stud. I even think too that passing, they ranked 14th overall in team passing defense. I think part of that is because they were winning so much that they were throwing the ball just all the time.
yeah,
And so I even and that being said, their running stat they were third overall. I think that is actually fair. I think they would still have a top 10 running defense whether they were behind or more than they were this year. So just in general, though, I mean, I think there's some weaknesses if we're being picky. I think in the interior offensive line, I think their offense wasn't so explosive. They maybe would have given up a little more sacks this year, but I think Brock Purdy has developed well and he's elusive enough, and he has so many weapons that he can throw to that system just works perfectly. Just get the ball out quickly and get the ball to the best players. So
yeah.
I want to throw a review. What was just kind of your overall thoughts? I think on the Niners season, on the game also too, because and just how they played in the final game.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the offensive side of the ball, I think you have to be happy with the offensive performance. They just kept making like critical mistakes, and I would really the only mistake, in my opinion, that they made on the offensive side of the ball was a Christian McCaffrey fumble. That was the only glaring one where I was like, "Dang, that was really bad." And then I had some issues with the play calling. They were running the ball really well, and they kind of went away from it. Really, I think this offense did everything that they could to win this game. It's just if it wasn't for that fumble in the red zone, and then if it wasn't for the punt, like the San Francisco 49ers are picking 32 overall in the draft and are Super Bowl champions.
I will say, just to counter that fumble, is the Chiefs then did the same thing. So
Yeah,
it almost kind of evened out. Not that like
I know, but I
you
mean, you could say the
you
same
still
thing
should
for
have
the Chiefs.
fumbled.
It's just I think you
Yeah,
overlook it because the Chiefs still ended up winning, right?
yeah, no,
And,
that's
and so
fair.
not to rub salt in the wound there, but
Yeah,
and then like the punt was just a horrible mistake. The return man's yelling Peter, that means get the F out of the way. Uh and like clear, run out of bounds, run in the tunnel if you have to. And the guy he was stuck on his block, and it was just a stupid mistake. Gave 7 points to the Chiefs easily. And then also I think you throw in the fact Dre Greenlaw went out after the first series in just a really unfortunate manner. And then also Debo Samuel after the hamstring didn't quite look right. Uh,
mm-hmm.
and so that was tough. I will say my big problem with the 49ers was the defensive play calling. That was horrible. I mean, that was horrible. You go a clear cover zero blitz on one play, and then on the very next play, you drop back on 2nd and 7 and just into like a 15-yard deep shell. Like, I don't know. It was just so odd. And I have some serious questions on the defensive coaching on that play. So,
Well, on that point specifically, Greenlaw going out totally changed the game because then when you
it did.
saw after
Yeah.
that, that's when because he was all over Kelsey, and Kelsey I think he had one target in the first half, and so I think he went down shortly before halftime.
No, he went down after the Chiefs punted on their first series. He was running on the field, and
At the start of the game.
yeah, it was like the first quarter.
Oh, I thought
It
it
was
was.
sorry, it was the Chiefs' second possession.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
it was closer to halftime, But it's still in general though. I think I think that they realize that. And losing a guy like him, I think, opened things up to Travis Kelce and just took it was a big loss, I think, for the defense overall. The defense, I think, throughout the entire season was just so dominant. I mean, there were, as I said, the only reason why their passing stats are middle of the road, I think, is just because they were winning so much, so teams had to throw against them.
Yeah.
In general, though, they're not really losing too much to free agency as of right now. They have some depth players that we're going to get to here in a second, but a main majority of the guys are going to be coming back. It is going to be interesting, though, now, because Greenlaw tearing his Achilles in February. That's going to probably do it for his 2024 season. So how are you going to address that linebacker position?
I will say that's 6 month rehab. He'll probably be back in like late October, November, early November. Like,
yeah,
it's the first half that he's definitely out for.
Well,
because then you still have like rehab, getting back into playing shape and whatnot. So you don't just go and re-tear it again.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Cam Akers do it in June, and then he came back and played in the Super Bowl for the Los Angeles Rams. Rodgers was moving around, but he wasn't like football ready, and it's been 4.5, 5 months or something like that. So it was 3.5 months, so to say, when you would talk about Christmas time. So that being said, so let's say 6 months from now, that's putting it towards middle of August. I don't know. I still think that's it. I think that's where you're ready. But then, is there going to be that confidence? Is he going to be in game shape? Well, he's not going to be in game shape. But it's just like how much of that longer build up. I think it's going to be closer to probably a full year, maybe towards the end of the season. I think he'll be getting in, but he'll be on a pitch count. So they're going to need to go and find a guy to go and replace him. And that's where I think if we go to the 2024 offseason, and like they look at the draft picks and their overall like their team needs. Look at a guy at that 31st pick, and the name that pops into my head, if there's ever going to be a time, I think, to take a flyer on Chop Robinson. And I feel like we say that name a bunch, but the dude's just super athletic. I know he's more of an edge rusher guy, but he can play that outside linebacker. Like they do it more of a traditional 4-3. I think with Chase Young also becoming a free agent, if you want to repay him, and also then too with Drake Greenlaw going out, I know he's a linebacker. But I think maybe he can provide some flexibility. I think that explosiveness. But there's some other key guys here. A lot of these guys are second string guys. But I already mentioned Chase Young, but Randy Gregory as well, Clyde Farrell, Javon Kinlaw. Gibson had a good season overall. Feliciano actually got hurt in the game also as well. Just a lot of depth pieces, I would say, in general, though, outside of Feliciano and Chase Young, who are starters. And Deshaun Gibson as well.
Yeah, and then also like Ray McLeod and Jawan Jennings, who Jennings had a really good game for them in the Super Bowl as well. So like definitely like I think the depth pieces, and that's kind of what we've been harping on. Like, and granted, this is so like I feel so kind of stupid saying this, but like there's a really big drop off from like their starters to like what's left, but that is just because their starters are so freaking good that like there's going to be a drop off to just about anybody. And like we kind of saw them struggle there in the mid-season with the middle of the season with that. And I think they will be able to clear up some cap space to definitely bring these guys back or bring like some of these guys back. But I also think this is the first time they've picked in the first round in a while. They have a good bit of draft capital. I think they have like 9 or 10 picks, maybe even 11. And
they get a lot. They still have 2 or 3 more picks in like the 6th and 7th round.
Yeah.
That they have.
But again, like they have done a really good job of identifying talent later in the draft that has come in and produced early on for them. Like Talanoa Hufanga has been a fantastic pick. Fred Warner, of all people, is a 3rd-round pick out of BYU. So like they've done a really good job of identifying talent. Kind of some team needs, though, going into the offseason. Interior offensive line. I would just say offensive line in general. One of the things that I didn't even realize until like halfway through the season is that Trent Williams is going to be 35 going into next year. And like, sorry, but clock's ticking on him. I know he was an all-pro this year, but that cliff can be pretty steep when you start getting to that age. And then John Feliciano got hurt. They didn't have the best interior offensive line throughout the year anyways. Receiver depth outside of Debo and Brandon Ayuk. I know Jawan Jennings had a really good game, but I definitely think that they could use some youth in that room, because both Debo and Ayuk are I think in their late 20s, and Jennings is also a free agent as well. I don't think he'd be too expensive to bring back. And then defense, just I would say continued defensive depth. I do think that they will make a very strong push to re-sign Chase Young, especially after the way he played for them in the end of the season and throughout the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But just again, adding good defensive depth. I think the cornerback position is a sneaky need that they could go after as well. So all in all, I mean, looking at what the 49ers have going forward, they have a really bright future. Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I think those guys are going to be carrying this offense into the foreseeable future. And then also you have on the defense side of the ball, Nick Bosa. If they bring back Chase Young, they just signed Javon Hargrave to a big contract as well. Fred Warner. Hufanga is going to be coming back from injury next year, and he was a really important piece to that defense as well. So I really like what the 49ers have going forward, and I think it's only a matter of time before they actually end up winning one of these Super Bowls that they go to. So
yeah, no, they get such a great team, and it's I'm a little shocked, still I'm shocked. I'm not shocked that the results didn't end like it ended the way that it ended, because there's just something about, when Mahomes, it's they hate, like with Jordan, in 90s, like they just figured out ways to win. Like they probably were not on the best teams, but they just figured out ways to win.
Well, the 49ers were clearly the better team yesterday. Like that's I don't think that's up for debate.
I think the Chiefs beat 3 or 4 teams in a row in the playoffs that were better than them. But they just won. Like they just figured out a way to win the game. So Niners are in a good spot. I think they have the guy in Brock Purdy here. I think all those, to me personally, I think any questions about him are put to bed. I think he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Maybe not top 10. I need to go through the list, but I think that also goes to show how many good quarterbacks there are in the league. He is above average of the 32 starting quarterbacks.
Let's piss off some 49ers fans. Let's go through it. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow,
Lamar
Jackson.
Let me pull up the teams here just so I can remember everything. I think he's better than Tua. I know that I like him more than Tua.
I would take him over Aaron Rodgers at this point.
I would take him over Aaron Rodgers. I guess it's fair. I think that's a fair debate if you're building a franchise or just on paper right now. Even though Tua coming off the Achilles, I like him more than Deshaun Watson. I definitely like him more than Kenny Pickett. I think CJ Stroud's better. I think CJ Stroud's
better.
Yeah. Gardner Minshew. No. He's better than AR-15 and Gardner Minshew.
Trevor Lawrence. I would say yes, just talent-wise.
But Trevor Lawrence is better than him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's fair. I think if you
put Trevor Lawrence
on the
49ers, how much better are the 49ers?
I think give a like if you want Trevor Lawrence as your Niners quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I would be shocked. Will Levis, he's better than Russell Wilson. That's up for debate. I'm just joking. Aiden O'Connell, yes. We already did Herbert. That's the AFC. Dak Prescott.
I would take Brock Purdy because he at least didn't pee himself when he got in a big game. Maybe I'm just low on Dak Prescott. But
I'll defend Prescott a little bit.
I think Jalen Hurts is better. I would take Jalen Hurts.
I like Jalen Hurts. He's better than Daniel Jones. He's better than whoever's going to be coming in at quarterback for the Commanders. Yeah. He's better than Fields. I do think
Jordan Love.
Verdict's still out on that one.
Yeah, they're like in the same tier for me.
I would put like him, Dak Prescott, and Jordan Love like in that same tier as of right now. Kirk Cousins.
Again, it's the Aaron Rodgers debate. I think Kirk Cousins is the better quarterback, but I would take Brock Purdy over him because of the age. And
I think if you're thinking about building in a franchise, I'm talking about as of right now.
Kirk Cousins is probably better.
I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback.
Yeah.
You know.
So we're already
now,
at 9.
Sorry, at 9, and we haven't even talked about Jared Goff yet.
But again, I think that's the same debate.
No, Jared Goff's only 28 or 29.
No. I was gonna say that's the same debate with Jordan Love and Dak Prescott. Whereas, like, I think that he's a really good quarterback, but I don't know if I can clearly be like Jared Goff is better.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. So
yeah, Desmond Ridder, yes. Bryce Young, I would say yes, but I think Bryce Young has potential still. I think he's in a horrible situation.
Yeah,
Derek Carr, most definitely. Baker Mayfield. I would say he's better.
I would say he's better, but Baker had a really good year.
He had a really good year. Kyler Murray, that one's interesting.
I would probably take Kyler just because of the elite athleticism.
Yeah. Los Angeles Rams, Matt Stafford, that's kind of in that Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins debate now.
Yeah.
And then Seattle, I'd rather have him than Geno Smith.
Yeah. So I mean, he's around the top 10. I would say
10 to 13-ish.
Yeah, 10 to 13-ish, I think, in the league. But again, I think this is all to be like, this is the argument that I've made that I've gotten hate on. He is an above average quarterback in the NFL. Like good for you. The 49ers are not winning and losing on Brock Purdy. Like, they have the playmakers around him that elevate that team to be the Super Bowl contender that they are.
Yeah.
And so that's the argument that I've been trying to make as of late. And so let us know. I think that's a good end to the video unless you have anything else to say. So,
no, I was going to say anything is saying it's not like it's a knock against Brock Purdy. I think it's more of a compliment to how good the NFL quarterback class is.
Yeah.
Currently. Like the 32 starting quarterbacks. There were 8 pretty much no-brainers, I would say, that are better than Brock. Like, I'd rather have those guys for my franchise than Brock Purdy. But there's a lot of guys that I'd rather have Brock Purdy for than those guys.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that's just the nature of the game. And again, he's in a situation where he doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. Like, he doesn't have to go out there and will his team to 4 playoff victories in a row. While he's getting the snot beat out of him because his offensive line can't block anybody. Like, so that to me, I think, is the real kicker to this argument is just like, he just doesn't have to be those guys. So we're not saying that he isn't. It's just the team around him is so good that he doesn't have to be. So let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I think that was a good spot to end it. Let us know down below where you think Brock Purdy ranks in the NFL amongst the quarterbacks. Do you think we're delusional for thinking Brock Purdy's not a top 5 guy? Do you agree with our argument that he is an above average, like kind of in that 10 to 13 range amongst all the other quarterbacks? Also, let us know what you want to see the 49ers do in the offseason or in free agency and in the draft. And on that, we will see you guys next time.